All right, this is a video to help you with area model multiplication. We're going to be using a 3-digit by 2-digit number, and you'll see that this one includes a 0. Our objective says I can multiply by using partial products and area model. So that's what we're going to be using today. I'll have another video about standard algorithm, as well as just using partial products, which is kind of a mix of standard algorithm. What might help you with this one is also having your place value chart to help you place those numbers. For me, I'll just be doing it on screen here. All right, the first factor, oh my goodness, the first factor that we see is 403. So I'm going to take that apart. I know 4 is in the hundreds place, so I'm going to write that out as 400. All right, now for my 0, I see that it's 0 tens. I might write that down even though I know in my mind that it's really just going to have a bunch of zeros, but it helps me hold that place value and reason out that there are 0 tens. I'll even put 2 zeros to show that it is the tens place. Okay, and then the next digit says 3, and that's 3 ones, and I know that's going to be just 3. All right, now off to the side over here, right, I'm going to do my other factor, which is 45. So I'm going to decompose that. Well, I see 4 tens, which is 40, plus my 5 ones, which is just 5. Now, I've talked to you guys about how I extend out my addition symbols to help me organize my area model the best I can, and then draw in my box around that. Okay, now I know I don't have my fingers on my screen, but pretend I have 2 fingers right here, right? I'm going to move one up. Okay, I see 400, 400, and to the side, 40. That makes sure that we are multiplying the 2 numbers that we need to be doing for all of our partial products, right? We talked about for partial products, these are parts of my product, so I've taken it apart, and I'll have to add them back together. So 400, I moved up to the side, times 40. So I'm going to write times 40. Now, those are really big numbers, but let's just focus on our digits that have value. So I'm going to look at 4 and 4. What is 4 times 4? Well, you may need to check your multiplication chart or do some skip counting. I like that I've seen some skip counting on papers off to the side. Okay, you could do that. I know it's 16. But it's not just 16. I have my hundreds and tens, so it's going to move a total of 3 place values. And then my little comma so I can read that, 16,000. All right, let's do our other box. We talked about this one. This is a 0, right? So I know anything times 0 is going to be 0. So 0, I can even still write that, 0 times 40. Well, that is just going to be a big old 0. For my last box, move up 3, and to the side, 40 is all the way over here. We don't go diagonally. You got to go straight across to make sure we take care of all of those partial products. Okay, 3 times 4. Again, you may use skip counting. I know it's 12. With a 0 place value, that means tens. So it's got to move 1 place value. That makes it 120. All right, let's do our last row. Our last row is the same deal. Move all the way up, all the way to the side. So for this box, I'm going to have to multiply 400 times 5. All right, just look at the digits that have value right now. 4 times 5 is 20. Oh, this one's different because I have a 0 already in my 20, but that does not count as one of these place values that I'm going to move it. I have to move this 2 place values, 400. 1, 2 place values. And I'll read this as 2,000. All right, I think you can guess, right, what we're going to do for this one. We have zeros up here, times 5. I'll write it out. 0, I'll just put a 0 this time. Times 5, okay, equals 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Last box, I'm doing 3 times 5. 3 times 5, I can use skip counting to solve that. is 15. Now I'm not done here. Again, your place value chart may help you out with adding this all back together because we talked about for our partial products, they're parts of our product, right? We took them apart into pieces. Now we need to add them all back together. So I'm going to write that over here. I'm writing every single partial product. You may not write your zeros because we know that they're just going to be zero. They won't change my answer. I'm going to write all of them just so I can see all of my partial products. I'm also going to make sure that I line up all of my ones in the correct spot so that I know that I am adding correctly. All right. 0, 120. Hold on, I lost count of my place values. All right, there we go. 1,000, 2,000, 0, and 15. All right, we're gonna add these all up. 5 plus a whole bunch of zeros is just 5. I see 2 plus 1 in my next place value, which is gonna be 3. I have 1 plus nothing is 1. 6 plus 2 is 8. And then, oh, don't forget this 1 up here. 1 plus nothing is 1. Let me try that again. There we go, 1. And I read this number by saying 18,135. Now, if I'm not certain that I got the correct answer, we can use estimation to check. We should always be checking our work. I can check by looking at my steps, making sure that I added the zeros where I needed to put my zeros, okay? For this one, I'm going to look back over at my problem. I'm going to look at 400. 403. Well, 3 doesn't have a very high value. I know that 403, just 3, is going to be very close to 400. So I'm going to write 400 times, okay, 45. 45, I could leave 45 as is for a more accurate estimate because it's as close as I can get, right? Or you may want to round up to 50, and that's okay too. I'm going to use 50 equals, okay, so what's my estimate say? Well, I am just looking at 4 and 5, which is 20. Oh, that's that tricky 20. 20 does not count as one of my place value movements. I have to move a total of 1, 2, 3 place values. 1, 2, 3 place values. Okay, so remember I was using this to check my work, right? So 20,000 was my estimate. Does that check out? Is it pretty close to 18,135? Yeah, it's pretty close. I would be worried if I had, like, say, just 135, right? But this is only off by a little bit, especially when we're working with such big numbers. Okay, so I'm going to call that's good. And I checked my work. Oh, let's try that again. I checked my work. Very good. All right, I'll see you in the next video.